It's a normal camp morning. You're counting grain sacks, checking arrow bundles, doing the usual survive-the-border chores. Then a royal order slams into camp. March north. Everyone freezes. Even the mules look offended. You start packing burial cloth with the rations because apparently the court wants a campaign and a funeral in one trip. Men know obeying this gets them killed. The seal is still real. So why is the column forming anyway? You march anyway. Of course you do. A sealed order is still a sealed order, even when it reads like a suicide note with better handwriting. And honestly, this is how your life works. The court sends paper. The frontier general keeps you alive. One of those things has a much better track record. So the drums beat. The wagons creak. Boots sink into wet ground. Men joke too hard and sleep too little, which is how soldiers admit they think they're dead. Nobody believes in the campaign. That's the problem. Everybody still obeys it. The capital, which barely notices the frontier until it catches fire, now expects the one commander who wins up here to walk straight into a disaster it designed from far away. They need him. They order him like a shovel. Then the road starts making the argument for you. Mud eats wheels. Horses blow steam and stumble. Supply carts lag behind like they already know they belong to corpses. Every crossing is worse than the last. You keep marching. Loyal on paper. Furious in your ribs. By the time you reach the river, the whole thing feels cursed and stupid in equal parts so. Water swollen. Current fast. Men staring across like the other bank is not enemy land but a giant open grave. Then the frontier general stops. No speech for the ages. No theatrical pause. Just the order. Turn around. That's it. One command, and the world flips under your boots. A minute ago, you were an obedient army in a bad plan. Now you are a disobedient army with very good reason, which is somehow much more dangerous. The line shudders. Then it bends. Standard swing. Carts grind backward. Men who thought they were marching to die let out this ugly little laugh of relief. It lasts about 3 seconds. Because now you're not afraid of drowning in a stupid invasion. You're afraid of what waits at home. Royal punishment. Accusations. Executions. Former comrades deciding loyalty means killing you before supper. But the strangest thing happens on the road south. You don't get abandoned. You get fed. Local offices open granaries. Horses appear. Water jars are pushed into your hands by people kneeling in the mud. Magistrates who should block you start helping you. They've done the math. Following the court into madness suddenly looks riskier than backing the man who refused. Even the message changes faster than the march. Letters go out ahead of you, saying this is not rebellion. This is loyalty. Armed loyalty. Marching on the capital to save it from itself. And that is how you end up doing the most illegal thing possible in full official uniform, under the same banners, with cleaner ranks than most tax convoys. You are not fleeing anymore. You are advancing home. And up ahead, people in the capital are already deciding whether to welcome you, hide from you, or start burning documents before you arrive. Now you're marching south at your own capital, which should feel like treason. Instead, it feels weirdly organized. Spears straight. Banners up. No smashing doors. No grabbing chickens because you suddenly have political opinions. That part matters immediately. Villages peek through half-shut doors. Shopkeepers freeze with their hands on shutters. They're waiting to find out if you're an army or a plague. So the frontier general makes the answer painfully clear. Loot, and you get punished. Touch civilians and you get punished. Drift out of line and you get dragged back. So the rebellion ends up cleaner than the government. Which is a brutal look for the government. You feel it on the road. People stop hiding children. Water appears. Rice appears. Not as a welcome exactly. More like cautious investment. If you act lawful, maybe they survive whoever wins. And suddenly everyone has opinions. Old comrades behind town gates squint at your banners and hesitate. Yesterday you were on the same side. Today a document says otherwise. That's all it takes. Paper flips friends into loyalists, and loyalists into future corpses. But half the capital is already wobbling. Messengers start arriving at odd hours. Quiet horses, sealed letters. Courtmen who were very brave on paper now speak in whispers. Noble houses want to know what the general really meant at the river. Scribes who ignored the frontier yesterday now care very much about your mood, your route, your dinner, your rumors. You keep expecting the big loyalist stand. The noble last defense. The dramatic clash for the kingdom's soul. Instead, the closer you get, the softer everything feels. Gates bargain. Officials stall. Men who denounced you yesterday suddenly discover nuancy. Then you enter streets your unit used to defend. No grand final battle. Just tension, boots, and people pretending this is still normal. Resistance cracks fast. Some units melt away. Some switch. Some wait to salute whoever survives the week. And that's the real shock. The center was supposed to be solid. Sacred. Even. Turns out it's mostly robes, seals, and men watching each other's faces. The old ruler still sits where rulers sit. But the room empties around him. Orders slow down. Other orders move faster. The frontier general keeps saying restoration, correction, loyalty. Fine words. Meanwhile, your side takes intersections, arsenals, records, and the people who carry keys. By the time anyone admits what happened, victory already has clerks attached to it. And now your hands, built for reins and bows, are reaching for gates that open with paperwork. You take the city. Great. Now someone has to run it. And it turns out gates do not guard themselves. Records do not sort themselves. Tax grain does not walk politely into storage because a cavalryman glared at it. So your job changes overnight. Yesterday you were riding hard from the frontier. Today you are standing in a palace corridor, smelling wet paper and lamp smoke, while a court clerk explains which archive chest. He says it like this is normal. It is not normal. You still have mud in your boot seams. Veterans get posted everywhere. Main gates, storehouses, treasury rooms, messenger routes. Suddenly the capital is full of scarred men from the north telling silk sleeves where to stand. Court servants who used to bow to pedigree now bow to whoever has 20 armed friends and a written order. Winning the march was simple. Face forward. Keep formation. Do not die. Ruling is uglier. Every corridor has a survivor in it. Every survivor has a grudge. Every grudge arrives folded into a petition. People flood the frontier general's residence with problems that cannot be stabbed. Missing land records, rival appointments, grain shortages, a magistrate who vanished, another one who refuses to leave. Widows asking for exemptions, monks asking what happens next. Scholars asking for reform like they did not spend last week hiding behind locked doors. And you escort those scholars anyway. That is the switch. Men who proved themselves with bows and horse sweat now walk beside robe-wearing advisors so they can lecture the kingdom about moral order under armed protection. They point at a registry office. You clear it. They draft new rules. You make sure the old official actually hands over the seal instead of pretending to faint. The city learns fast. If your unit appears, things move. Locks open. Ledgers surface. Forgotten taxes get remembered. Principles suddenly become very flexible. Then the old shell of government starts getting peeled away piece by piece. Not in one dramatic scream. In 1,000 practical humiliations. One office reassigned. One commander replaced. One seal transferred. One title emptied before anyone admits it is dead. Your reward is real at first. Better rations. Better quarters. People who ignored frontier officers now whisper when you pass. Men from your ranks get posts that used to belong to polished families with soft hands and ancient ancestors. Land starts moving. Jobs start moving. So does loyalty. But the room changes while you are still in it. The old comrades notice first. Too many scholars. Too many rituals. Too many men who cannot string a bow telling everyone what the victory means. The same army that made the takeover possible is now being arranged into guards, escorts, and officials, while advisors build the language that makes it all permanent. Then the idea hardens. This is not a correction, not a temporary cleanup, not a strong man holding the center until things calm down. It is a replacement. Talk spreads that the highest loyalty is not to the old throne at all. It is to the realm, to order, to heaven, to whatever phrase makes breaking one dynasty sound like saving the country. Convenient philosophy. Very useful once you already control the gates. So the frontier general climbs higher. Then higher again. Supreme power stops pretending to be borrowed. New titles appear. New ceremonies appear. New dates begin counting from a new center. Symbols of the old order come down, and everyone is expected to act like this was the natural result of wisdom, not an army that turned around at a river and kept marching. You end up guarding the heart of a brand new state built by men who became dangerous by refusing a command. Now that state wants exact obedience, formal rank, sacred language, and smooth paperwork. It wants to look eternal. It is barely dry. And while you are holding the center for the new ruler, another problem is already growing inside the walls. Not from the frontier, from his own house. You think the hard part is over. The banner's changed. The gates are yours. The frontier general sits on the throne, and now your boots squeak on polished palace floors instead of freezing in border mud. That lasts about 5 minutes. The danger is not outside anymore. It is upstairs. It is inside halls. It is in smiling greetings that feel like knives wrapped in silk. The ruler's sons start building their own little gravity fields. Their own followers. Their own guard networks. You stop hearing one court. You hear several, all pretending to be one. And everybody wants your answer now. Not later. Not maybe. Which prince gets your bow first? Which summons you obey fastest? Who your captain drinks with after dark? One wrong visit, and suddenly your name travels faster than a horse? Then the arrests start at night. A veteran you rode with is there at supper. By dawn, he is gone. Another man vanishes because he stood too close to the wrong staircase when the wrong prince walked by. You keep learning a new palace rule. Proximity is guilt, not action. Not words, just being near the future loser. Then the courtyards go loud. Armor in the dark, doors splintering, men running where only servants should run. You grab a spear inside the palace you supposedly secured, and for one stupid second it feels like the frontier again. Then you see who is falling. Not invaders, not raiders, court men, household guards. Sons of the house cutting through their own father's state. By sunrise, the servants are on their knees with water buckets. Blood goes pink, then pale, then gone. Official notices appear like magic. Order is restored. Stability is assured. Which is amazing, because you just watched stability bleed into the paving stones before breakfasty. The founder himself looks less like a mountain now. More like a man who built a weapon and discovered it works indoors. He could turn an army at a river. He cannot easily turn his own sons. That is the trap. A kingdom born from one justified refusal now breeds 1,000 ambitious interpretations. If you help build this thing, that does not protect you. It marks you. The new winners stop loving men like you in the old way. Frontier scars looked heroic when walls were falling. In council, they just look uncivilized. Your blunt voice, your cavalry habits, your habit of solving delay with force, all of it starts reading like a problem the minute scholars take the tables. So, the kingdom tightens. Registers multiply. Seals matter. Tax grain moves because paper says so. Etiquette becomes a weapon with cleaner sleeves than any swordsman. You get land. Maybe an office. Maybe a better house. Nice reward. Very solid looking. Still, every privilege feels balanced on that old turn in the road, the one that saved the army and broke the chain of command at the same time. Now commoners come to the state with petitions. Merchants want permissions. Families want rulings. People begin depending on this new order because it actually functions. That makes it stronger. It also makes your kind easier to sideline. Once the machine runs on records and precedent, the men who won the machine become noisy parts, say. Even the social rules flip on you. Families who once feared your rough circle now want marriage ties. They want your land, your connections, your origin story polished and laundered. Everybody wants what the victory produced. Fewer people want to remember how raw it looked while it was happening. So you stand there in better clothes, under stricter rules, watching ink outrank steel. And somewhere behind every promotion, every marriage, every official smile, the old question starts sharpening again. If your whole future rests on that turn at the river, who gets to decide whether it was loyalty, betrayal, or both? Now the killing slows down. The paperwork starts. Somehow, that feels worse. You serve a kingdom built by one giant refusal, and now clerks decide what that refusal meant. The old river turn gets polished into official memory. Not muddy boots, shouted orders, and men wondering if they are traitors by sunset Nana. Now it becomes destiny. Clean, righteous, convenient. Which is a problem for you. You were there. You remember the faces. You remember nobody acting like this was pre-written by heaven. You remember the hard swallow before the army turned around. So you learn the new capital skill. Shut up carefully. At banquets, you praise the frontier general, exactly right. He was perfectly loyal. He was perfectly justified. He disobeyed the throne to save the throne. Say that too bluntly, and heads tilt. Say it too honestly, and the room goes cold. The state needs a miracle. You remember a mutiny with better discipline. Meanwhile, the founder steps back, then back again, and seals multiply like knives and sleeves. One prince claims the true line. One minister claims the true procedure. One old veteran swears loyalty means protecting the realm from bad orders. Another says loyalty means swallowing the order and dying on schedule. Suddenly everyone owns a private definition of obedience. And the capital starts looking at frontier men differently. Not as saviors now. As reminders. You are living proof that a soldier can fix the country by ignoring it first day. That is not the kind of proof a palace enjoys keeping around. So even routine duty turns nasty. You stand by a gate. You check a message. You watch one cart roll through. Tiny actions. Dynasty-sized consequences. The whole place feels like cracked ice pretending to be stone. The founder grows old. Younger men get quicker. Harder. They use the machine he built to corner each other in side-eyed. And there it is, finally, impossible to unsee. After the river, the most dangerous servant in the realm is the one who can say with a straight face that refusal is the highest form of loyalty. That precedent does not fade. It sits in every order. It waits in every corridor. And when the next absurd command arrives, already moving toward your hands, nobody knows which is safer anymore. Obeying it, or becoming the next man history cleans up later.